Welcome to the recap episode. Chelsea versus Leeds, 3-2 final against Leeds United. A match that should not have ended in a Chelsea win, but it does anyway. And we take the 3 points. We move not anywhere, right? I think we stay here in third place in the Premier League table. So it doesn't help us out whatsoever. But we get 3 points. It is what it is. 36, 37, 38 is still how it lines up with 1 point separating the three teams of Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man City. And I'm telling you, that loss is going to bite Chelsea in the back. Oh, that loss to West Ham United. Yeah, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. And I think it's going to hurt even going into Christmas in about, 14 days now. I really do think that's going to make a difference. I know we have a lot of matches coming up. I understand that. Their next one is Everton on Thursday. And after the Everton match will be our very special episode 100 here. And we welcome you all into episode 99, as it is me, Josh, with my co-host Alex here. No Peter to join us for this episode. Sorry for the delay in recording. We had all stuff going on here, but we are grinding at 9:30 on a Saturday night where we should be partying it up, the Chelsea win, but instead we are here grinding up the Chelsea win and putting these episodes out, even late at night. But unfortunately, yes, the match was, like prime time of day where everyone has stuff going on. I was going to say another word there. And then it just didn't work out, but we're here, and I know it's a day late, but we have this episode out. I'm already losing my voice because we're recording here at 9:30. But anyway, we had the pens from Jorginho, both coming in very clutch times. Obviously, the most clutch coming in additional time. And we have Rafinha having the penalty for Leeds United earlier. And I was just actually watching the highlight over here. Honestly, Alex, it did to me look like Mendy could have made that stop. He kind of, Rafinha got him with thinking he was Jorginho with like a little hop, skip, and a jump there. But he's not. He's only a carbon copy if he even tried. But he can never be as good as Mr. coming in third in Ballon d'Or. But anyway, I would like to give credit to Mason Mount for the nice goal, obviously, in the first half that he had there. But yes, I think Mendy could have made that save if he stayed upright. Obviously, he just slipped, so that was unfortunate. Marcus Alonzo, I thought that pen, it wasn't as bad as Alex is thinking. I can let him explain himself. It's been a while since I've talked. So, Alex, first of all, how are you? I'm sure you're tired as well, just like me. But we're here, we're grinding. So, how are you? And what is your thoughts on the Marcus Alonzo penalty there? But don't forget, Marcus Alonzo was the biggest part in that cross of the Mason Mount goal, the first one at least.
I was tired. I was sleeping in my chair. I was about to, close my eyes and stuff. And then you mentioned the name of Marcus Alonzo, and now I'm all up and excited. So not excited for good reasons, but Marcus Alonzo, I get he got the assist that, whatever it did. I forget, it angers me so much. The assist that got the goal that tied up the game, obviously, at 1-1. But that penalty, what in the world is he doing? It's just, his reaction time is slower than a snail. And he should know that himself. He plays, I saw this as kind of like I saw a tweet online, like right after the penalty was given, in which Marcus Alonzo, it was kind of like he plays at a quarter of the speed that everyone else plays at. Like everyone else is playing like at a normal speed, and then there's just Marcus Alonzo who's playing at literally like 0.10 speed out of like everyone else. It just feels like he's so slow. And I don't know what it's been, maybe since Chilwell came back into form, and obviously now he's out for a while and Marcus Alonso stepped in. It just seems like Alonso is so slow, and defensively doesn't help out. It seems like when he's on the touchline, he can't do anything except for to, shift himself and pass the ball back to Rudiger. That's literally what his role is at this point. Decent in set pieces because of his height. Decent striker of the ball, but besides that, he's just not good enough. And in January, we have to pick someone, especially if this Chilwell injury is serious, or with serious season-ending seriousness. I'd say we have to pick someone up, whether that means recalling someone who we have on loan. I know we have Baba Rahman on loan. I'm not sure if he's really going to be, good enough. Not that he's a fan favorite of mine either, but we definitely have options. So if we do need to bring someone back, I think that might be something we need to do. And if not, we just have to go out there, maybe get a loan for someone or purchase someone, obviously, because otherwise it's going to be a long season with Marcos Alonso playing there. It's just not good enough from him. And you could see Tuchel getting frustrated with him on the sideline, waving his hands up and down every time Marcos Alonso made a mistake.
I'd like to say something. VAR today, we like to complain about a lot. Anthony Taylor, we like to complain about a lot. Obviously, he wasn't the ref in this match, but VAR played in our favor for once. So let's talk about that a little bit. And Rudiger, you mentioned. Rudiger was all over the pitch today. Rudiger was taking pens, right? Or he was drawing penalties, Jorginho notching them in. Example, Chelsea 2-1. And then we had Rudiger get into fights. Alex, I know you have a lot to say on him. So, I mean, I can give you the floor here to talk about your man, I'm sure. I think your favorite player on Chelsea, Antonio Rudiger, just because of the physicality and is it toughness or just
he's like the class clown, and it's just amazing. Basically, he's the class clown of the football pitch, and it's just amazing to see him at the end of the game. I sent Josh a video of this after the game of just him when Jorginho slots away the final penalty in the 94th minute. He's kind of like dancing up and down like a weirdo, and then he's getting into fights with all the Leeds players for no reason, really, but he's just doing it because he's having fun. And he just looks like someone who's out there really having fun playing his football. And that, it's just, it's kind of like when you go with your friends to the park and, you guys are all talking crap to each other. And then that's basically what Rudiger is, but in real life, he's that really annoying friend who thinks he's really good and is just talking crap to you.
Again, Marcos Alonso, just want to, I'm running through the highlights myself here, and I just remembered, I think I talked about it with Peter in the preview to this match. We did a video on YouTube. We do all our match previews on videos now for YouTube. And I don't think we mentioned this last episode, but anyway, Marcos Alonso also had a clearing the line, or he cleared the line in one of the opportunities for Leeds that when it tipped off Mendy's, it looked like left leg. He cleared the ball. It wasn't Thiago Silva type clear, from getting a goal, but Marcos Alonso, he's there, Alex. He's might not be in all the spots you want him to be in, but he's there sometimes. Okay. I want to mention this last week. The episode only came out on audio. There's the copyright issue. We tried to show highlights, as Alex was sure to mention a lot of the time on the audio version. Might not have understood what the hell he was saying because he couldn't stop talking about the highlights that was not even shown anywhere because it was copyrighted and taken down, whatever you want to call it. So we will not be doing the highlights again. There won't be any confusion / videos taken down because we will be here giving you the real stuff. And also the second point of that, we shouldn't show the highlights because someone, and it's not me, gets a little too distracted when they're shown.
So how when you get a new toy and it's just really exciting? I'm kind of like that little 5-year-old who just gets really excited at those new things. And when I saw the highlights and I was like, ooh, and I get distracted. Funny enough. Well, it's not funny enough for the episode, but it just gets a little distracting. Okay. I have the inside of a 5-year-old, so it's really tough for me. So we won't be continuing that. So the video is not just plain video, just our faces. And hopefully I won't get distracted by Josh's face because otherwise we may have a problem long term.
Well, listen, audio listeners, we're here for you. We know what happened last episode. And I just want to say we are here. We're bouncing back and there will be no distractions. You won't be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Okay? Because that won't be happening. We'll be here for you. I don't know what you want to go to next, Alex. Obviously, I'm ready whenever you are for my stats. I can always do that. I mean, I can always also do the player ratings, which I'm sure we'll get to later by Fan Nation.
I do have a couple things I want to talk about more with the game. I would say today we saw a bit of an interesting situation with how Tuchel was using the wing backs. We saw Alonzo tuck in a bit. We saw Reece James kind of flying all over the pitch today, which was nice to see. And, I kind of like kind of Man City-ish style where we see like Cancelo kind of tuck into the midfield for Pep Guardiola. Similar here for Chelsea, but it felt like it didn't really work. I don't know. It kind of felt like we were exposed on the right wings there. And it just didn't seem to like mesh properly, if that makes any sense. But I'd say with Jorginho, he kind of kept it all together today, finally, because obviously we had Saul and his issues. But I felt like with Jorginho and Loftus-Cheek, we were pretty solid. Loftus-Cheek, as I tweeted out, plug to the Twitter, go follow at Talking Blues Pod. I'm just so good at this plug and stuff.
You're not supposed to mention that you're plugging when you plug it, though. That's the only thing. You're like, great plug there. Good job by me. Like, you just say it. That's the way you do a good plug.
I like giving myself credit. And
Okay.
what I would say is Loftus-Cheek defensively seems a bit of a liability. Sometimes he gets the ball bit stuck under his feet. Doesn't seem to really commit to tackles. Jorginho, obviously, in the pace department is not ideal. But I'd say it's going to be tough without Kovacic and Conte. Let's hope they come back soon because those guys in the midfield are definitely critical. And that's kind of the main point I want to say. Obviously, we did not play well at all today. And if we want to stay in the title race, we're going to have to pick up the performances. Tuchel's going to have to adjust some tactics. And those front guys, Havertz, Werner, Mount's been pretty clinical, but especially Havertz needs to be more clinical in front of goal if he wants to keep playing.
Alex, why was it that Thomas Tuchel, you think, had a straight face when Chelsea notched in that penalty after Jorginho made it 3-2 in the 93rd minute? Was it because, just like every other Chelsea fan, he thought this match was going to be easier than it ended up being?
Well, I think his team talk at the end of the game didn't change, right? Whether Jorginho misses that penalty or scores it, besides the pat on the back 3 points, the team talk stays the same, right? It's not just because of one penalty kick doesn't negate the fact that we were poor defensively. We looked out of shape, especially on that right-hand side, even after Christensen came on. There's still a lot of issues going forward. We're not finishing our chances, not creating enough chances, a little bit too stagnant in the final third. Those things are still going to be talked about by Tuchel. So it doesn't really matter. He was thinking, hey, nice, we got the 3 points, but inside the dressing room, it doesn't really matter.
On to a lighter topic. The fight at the end, it was hilarious to me about how when everything is kind of shaped up and everyone's, I don't even know, shaped up what wording I was using there, but when everything's kind of broken down at the end and Romelu Lukaku takes Rudiger by the arms and kind of tries to drag him away, he can't even keep a straight face. You see him smiling and chuckling at the end there. And what it looked like to Rudiger, he was being full on serious, with fighting with all the Leeds United players. So I just thought that was funny that Lukaku couldn't even keep a straight face while Rudiger looked dead serious in his eyes. What his plans were, whatever his plans were, starting a fight with the Leeds United players there. I'll move on to my stats now. I think it's a good time for that. 16-12 Chelsea shots on target, 6-5. Chelsea led that as well. Possession, we know who led that. 58% to 42% Chelsea led there, as well as passes, 415 to 304. Pass accuracy, 83 to 73% Chelsea's way. Fouls, here's where Leeds United led. 15 to 9 yellow cards, also led by Leeds United, of 5 to 2. No red cards in this match. Offsides, 4 to 1 Leeds United, and corners, 5 to 2 Chelsea win that out. Okay, so now, are you ready, as I type it in, for the Chelsea player ratings?
I am ready for the player rankings. I'm interested to see what they ranked Kai Havertz, because I thought besides, that, fluff chance at the end of the first half, I thought he was solid in terms of how he held up the ball and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see how he was rated, how Timo Werner was rated, and how Mason Mount is rated. I want to see how those front three held up. So we'll see based on my guesses to what they actually put, as is the whole point of this. So I don't know why I'm explaining that, but in case you're new, there you go.
Also, in case you're new, obviously there are many sites that do these player ratings. We go by Absolute Chelsea, and if there are any that are like any players that are very, very not what we expected, let's say that, then we'll check another site and see what they put. But that's what we go by, Absolute Chelsea Fan Nation. And we've done this recently, so we're still kind of getting into it. Alex, this was a Chelsea win. Do you have a player of the match offhand? Even though I assume, because I'm going with Jorginho, I assume you go the same, unless Rudiger, the man who gave us these penalty chances.
I, to be honest, don't think anyone really stood out for me. I don't really have a man of the match. I guess we'll see in whoever had the highest rating, right? But I mean, I thought Mendy was solid. He made a whole bunch of good saves today. Besides that,
don't ever say, though, that the player with the highest rating, unless they got like a hat trick or 2 goals, deserves the player of the match, because it can be whoever shines in your eyes, right? We never want to have the obvious selection.
In my eyes, I'd say probably Reece James, but I don't know. Reece James or Mendy, but it's tough. Like or Jorginho, obviously, but besides the penalties, he didn't really do much, obviously. But he's an important player.
All right, so I just muted myself. Let's go to the match ratings. Okay. First of all, I muted myself on the video and on the audio.
Yeah, so don't get it mixed up here. Don't get it mixed up.
Saying there. Let's go to Anwar Mendy first. Mendy's going to be pulling a what, Alex, out of 10?
7.
Correct. 1 for 1. Let's go to Asby.
5.
Oh, okay. Now that's it. You're done. He got a 6 out of 10. Moving on to Thiago Silva.
6.
You were on the right there with a 7. And Antonio Rudiger got a
7.
Correct. There you go. Keep this there for Reece James.
7.
Yeah. And then we go to Ruben Loftus-Cheek with a
5.
6.
That's generous.
The 5 and 6 was Silva. And the description here just saying a solid performance of the Englishman and a much improved one alongside Jorginho return to the midfield. It's very interesting. They don't, I guess, because it is average that we kind of like we stabilized at the 6 is average, because they never talk bad when the player gets a 6. So that seems like their average rating. Okay. Jorginho.
7.
8.
Okay.
Marcus Alonzo.
It should be a 2, but it's going to be like a 4.
It's going to be a 5.
Oh,
it's going to be a 5. Mason Mount.
7. He was good today.
Yeah, exactly. He was good. Kai Havertz.
I think they're going to give him like a 5 or 6, but I think he also deserves a 7. But I'm going to go with 5.
No, you're definitely right. They do give him a 6 here, saying it was a quiet game for the German. He had a glorious chance in the first half to score after being slipped through by Jorginho, but it was denied. Okay. Timo Werner.
6. He was average today.
Yeah, he was average. You are right with a 6. He also had a quiet game. And it's funny because after he goes crazy, scores 2 goals, gives me all the confidence to talk about him. And actually, you know what? I'm going to do this on here because not everyone watches the previews. Peter actually brought up a great point, and I brought up a great rebuttal response to the great point in the preview. If you haven't watched it, you can go check it out, but I'm just going to talk about it here. If you are an avid listener, or even if you're not, I'm a big hater of Timo Werner. I have been ever since we signed him. And I actually made the comparison, and I want to mention it here on the podcast. So I think now, like looking back on it, giving him the third person perspective, maybe like, why do you like Josh? Like, let's actually think about it, because I gave him so much credit. He had wonderful goal, should have been a winning goal against Zenit this past week, and he had an amazing match. So why do I really like hate Timo Werner so much, like when he plays and stuff like that? I think as an avid New York American sports fan, where we are in the region. If any of you are not used to New York, basically New York sports, right? There is no wait time. There is no
patience. No patience.
Thank you. And Alex can justify me on this because we have a Giants podcast, and there is no patience through fans of New York because that's just how it is. So if you're not performing, you're getting benched. And here's the thing that I said when Peter was on for the preview. I said, if you're not doing well, people will tell you that you're not doing well, and the team will make sure that you're not doing well because they will bench you and they do not care. So I think as like a New York sports fan, I kind of carry that over into Chelsea without thinking that it's in England and it's a completely different country with a completely different mindset. And it's funny to me because I'm like, really? The Chelsea fans seem to really love Timo Werner. I think who was it that we had on, Alex, that even confirmed that? The play-by-play broadcaster that we got on the podcast, he even confirmed that,
Gary Taphouse,
Gary Taphouse, thank you. Look at you, top of the head there.
Big brain.
Okay, let me just finish because I do want to let you go. Sorry. But just to finish the point, I think it really is that in my own head, I just think, oh, he's not performing. We got to get him out of here. Like, let's get to the next option. And I just don't really think of the take a step back mindset. Let's give this man some time to adjust. Now, with how long it's been almost 2 years. It's been over a year. It's not been 2 years. It's been over a year. And I think from what we saw against Zenit, that was a really big contribution to what he can bring to this team. And then you go here and we didn't really see much. So it's really the game of football amazes you, right? The game of football amazes you and what it can turn a player into, a superstar, or they can be an absolute non-factor whatsoever. It really just depends. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is kind of how I've always thought about it is when we do, the NFL, the Giants, when we talk about that on the Giant Take podcast, there's players who come and they're moving cities, right? They're coming from Detroit to New York. They're coming from Boston to Detroit, They're going from LA to Las Vegas, right? There's a difference between that and then going from one country that speaks German and has completely different customs and cultures, and then going to a completely different country with a different language and different culture. There's definitely different cultural, things when you move from, say, Chicago to New York, but there's similarities that are much greater than moving from a different country. That's how I've always thought about it, because I used to be ill-patient with people as well. But yeah, you kind of got to adjust yourself. But yeah, that's basically it. That's all I was gonna say.
Okay, so let's just do the two substitutions because they don't have one for the third. Hudson-Odoi, Andreas Christensen. That's what they have ratings for.
Okay, yeah. Well, Lukaku was on for literally 5 minutes, so yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, and again with Lukaku. Sorry, just before you go, again with Lukaku, where like, what is going on with that man? He's fit. He's not fit. He's playing. He's not playing. Yeah, he's good. He's not good. He's good with the ball. He's scoring. He's not scoring. Like, that guy has to find his playing style and his goals and his streak that we saw earlier in the season. Again, I keep on alluding to the preview. I'm sorry, but it's just, I said it there as well with Peter that he hasn't found it yet. And I don't know if it's because he's injured, and I don't know if it's because Tuchel's not giving him the minutes, because I think that definitely contributes. Okay, if he's not injured anymore, we got to give him the minutes to ease back. We can't give him 5 minutes. We can't. Because if we want him to score and to make an impact, he's got to get more. Now, if he's injured still, and we're still trying to ease him back, which I don't know how that's the case 2 or 3 weeks later after he's eased him back, maybe it's rest. I don't know. But I haven't seen any goals from Lukaku in a long time. And for millions and millions of dollars, millions and millions of pounds, whatever way you want to convert it into different currencies, it's a lot of money. So I want to see some goals in the back of the net, because that's what he's known for, the big man who scores goals in big moments. And I haven't seen that recently.
Yeah, I mean, he did obviously suffer an ankle sprain, which is known. Well, it's an ankle injury, which is suspected to be an ankle sprain. And, from the analysis we've done and, hearing about injuries, well, this injury that he had is more common in somewhere like the NFL, which we talked about, obviously, on the Giant Take. The plugs are just going crazy today. So you have to mention, I can't help myself, Josh. But usually, even when you're back from those types of injuries, especially an ankle injury, it takes a few weeks, even after you're healthy again, to kind of get back into the groove of things. So I think that's really the issue here. And it's hard getting back from, at just sitting on your couch. I don't know what Lukaku was doing in his free time, but I'd assume he wasn't, running sprints around the house.
He wasn't just sitting on the couch. He was sitting on the couch and tweeting.
That's true. He was tweeting. Yes.
Lukaku was like, I'm eating breakfast. I'm getting up. I'm going for a walk. guys, I'm sprinting today. Guys, I'm training today. So that's what he was doing, Alex.
So, well, it's different when you're moving your fingers and then moving your legs and stuff. So, you have to give him a little bit of a transition period. I think after the holiday festivities, hopefully he'll be back at it. That's what I'm hoping. But you never know, obviously, with injuries. So hopefully it all comes back good.
And that was nothing against like Lukaku. I mean, it's actually really cool how he interacts with the fan base
No, it is.
and just the football community on Twitter. I was just making a joke there. I don't want anyone to take offense to that and be like, "Oh,
how dare you make fun of
this Lukaku and his tweets?" I love his tweets. How could he do such a thing? It was a joke. But I mean, come on. I'm sprinting, or I'm sprinting with these like running emojis. I remember he was doing those updates, and then I would report them on the podcast and be like, Lukaku sprinted today because he posted about it on Twitter.
We need to get N'Golo Kante a Twitter account. I think that's really what needs to happen. Or
Tony Rudiger would just post like GIFs, I feel like, of like a boxing like match or something. And N'Golo Kante would just post pictures of him with his thumbs up.
And a big smile.
And a big smile. It would be him and his Mini Cooper. He would take photo shoots. All right. Anyway, we're getting a little off topic here, but we hope you enjoyed this recap. Again, 3-2 Chelsea victory versus Leeds United. Mason Mount, Jorginho on 2 penalties, Antonio Rudiger fighting people. You had it all in this match. You really did. Okay. Chelsea secured 3 points, as bad or as good as you like to say it. And again, Chelsea are in 3rd place in the Premier League table with 36 points, 1 point behind Liverpool, who's 1 point behind Man City. And the top 3 just keep on evolving and getting better, huh? Because now West Ham is sitting with 27 points. Still, that obviously is because they haven't played, right? Did they not play this weekend, or they did and they dropped? Did they drop? Let's see. Alex and I, who's going to get the research quicker?
I believe they didn't play yet today. They play tomorrow, yeah. Or today when you're listening.
That's true. Or if you're listening past that point, it still doesn't matter. They play basically tomorrow morning for us at 9 a.m. against Burnley. That's why they only have 27. But still, even if they win, that's still 7 points behind Chelsea, right? So I don't know. That's a little that. Oh no. I can't calculate. What am I? That's 6 points behind Chelsea. That would be, yes. I can calculate somewhat. A little bit. I'm trying my best here. Anyway, Chelsea's going to have a match later this week, again on Thursday against Everton, Chelsea-Everton. So stay ready. Preview is going to be out soon. But again, we thank you for listening to this episode. I'm on Twitter at JoshHolo29. Alex on Twitter at Anorian23. Subscribe to the Talking Blues podcast everywhere. Episode 100 coming later this week. Episode 99 you just heard. Double thumbs up from Alex. Double hand wave from Alex for everyone listening. And for Alex, my co-host, I'm Josh. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time on another episode of the Talking Blues podcast.